spending a week on Decker Island, and I just wanted to thank you. Gratitude is important in building relationships, and so I thank her for making the introduction that she made and the next introduction that it led to, and so on. So diversity is powerful if you build relationships as you go, and you meet the people that are different than you and can make connections for you. All right, now if you've read any of my material, listen to my podcasts, you've heard me talk about BCP. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but this is one of the mindset issues. This is mindset. If you do not get this right, nothing you do in BNI or in networking is going to work well for you. You gotta get this right. VCP, visibility, credibility, profitability, goes like this. First, you have to be visible. People have to know who you are and what you do. And then you move from visibility to credibility, where people know who you are, they know what you do, and they know you're good at it. They trust you. How do they know you're good at it? Maybe they've used you. Maybe they meet people who have used you, and they talk about it. You know, in BNI in particular, being on a leadership team builds your credibility, as long as you do a good job. If you do a bad job on the leadership team, you hurt your credibility. But if you do a good job on the leadership team, that actually increases your credibility, even though you're not necessarily doing your profession. People see you do work in a credible way, and they go, wow, they must be really good at what they do, because they're such a great vice president, president, secretary, visitor host, education coordinator, whatever. So first you have visibility, then you go to credibility, and then and only then can you get to profitability, where people know who you are, they know what you do, they know you're good at it, and they're willing to refer business to you on an ongoing basis. This is not a sales process, this is a referral process. So you could be completely at credibility with a client, but they're not referring you to you. So credibility doesn't mean you're getting referrals. Credibility leads to the opportunity to get referrals, to ask for those referrals with your clients, which is a whole other topic. And by the way, this is not a formula, this is a process. It is not V plus C equals P. It's not that. Because I've seen many people that have had visibility and had credibility, but they couldn't push it over to profitability. So it's a process, not a formula. You gotta get this right mindset. Of all the mindset things, this is probably one of the most important. You gotta get this right. So why go to networking meetings? For this. You go to networking meetings and associations, and I know we've got a lot of associations that are here, some chambers that are here today. I urge people to go to those organizations because it's a great opportunity to expand your network, to expand your visibility and credibility. You go to networking meetings to meet new people and create visibility. You go to networking meetings to meet people you've met before and continue to develop credibility. You go to networking meetings to meet people that you have a referral relationship with and talk to them about how things are going and what else you can do to help them. Dexter said, how can we help you? That's part of what you do with the people, particularly at profitability. What are you doing next? How can we help you? This is the process that you want. When you get this right, when you really get this right, you're going to build a powerful personal network. But it's all mindset. It's not skill set. It's mind. There's skills involved. But it's really a mindset issue. What people tend to do is they use networking as that face-to-face cold calling opportunity. Hi, Bob, my name is Ivan. Let's do business. It doesn't work that way. Bob's ready to come up and do business with you. By the way, Bob does my companies and companies for many, many, many countries. He's very good at what he does. So it's all about building credibility that leads you to that profitability. You don't just jump to doing business with somebody. Now, another variation of this you've probably also seen, and that's the time confidence curve. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It's going to take a certain period of time before people have confidence in your ability to provide a quality product or service. Now, different professions take a different length of time. So if you are a florist, the time confidence curve is pretty quick. If you're a printer, it's a little bit longer. If you're in real estate, it's longer. If you're an investment advisor, investing in someone's retirement income, it takes a long time to build credibility where people are willing to refer you. I remember one financial planner who was in Vienna, I had been a member for 3 years, and he said, I've gotten some referrals that are not really big. I'm thinking about stepping down at the end of my term. And I said, man, you're in the toughest profession to be in Vienna. You really have to build credibility. It takes time. He said, all right, man, I'll do one more year and see how it goes. 1 week after he renewed, 1 week, he got the largest referral from a BNI member he'd ever gotten in his life. Not the largest from a BNI member, the largest referral he'd ever gotten in his entire career. And he got it just because he stayed a little bit longer. The florist is going to get business very quickly. The investment advisor is going to take time. It does take time to generate business. All right, so these are some of the mindset issues. You get these mindset issues done, and you're able to then move towards the skill set issues. So let's talk about some of the skill sets that are important. The skill sets. So one of the things that we learned in doing the book on gender, the book is actually called Business, Networking, and Sex. Not what you think. That's the subtitle. Not what you think. It's about the difference between men and women and how they network. And we learned a lot. This is where we surveyed 12,000 people. And let me tell you, we learned a lot about how men and women network. So we're going to do a test. You ready? There's no pass or fail. I'm just going to play this. But here's a little test. Don't say anything until I tell you. Okay? Filipinos get really excited. Don't say anything until I tell you. We found that men and women take different paths in the way they interact with other people and in the way they network with other people. Now, one of these paths happens to be the way men interact, and one of these paths tends to be the way women interact. I'm going to point to one of these photos, and I want you to yell out, as soon as I point to it, I want you to yell out, actually I'll count 1, 2, 3. I'll point to it, and I want you to yell out whether you think it's men or women. You understand? Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, this is so good. This is so men. Hi, my name's Ivan. Let's do business. One of the things we learned in the book is that men tend to introduce themselves like a resume. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm the vice president of data management at so-and-so. I've been doing it for so many years in our company. It's like a resume. Women tend to introduce themselves, and men have a hard time with this, but women tend to introduce themselves in a more relational way than a resume. Let me give you a great example. This is a true example. I was at a networking meeting, and I was standing with a man and a woman, and a second woman walks up to our group of 3. Second woman walks up, and the guy, I see him ready to go and give his resume, right? But before he does, the woman says to the woman who walks up, she said, hi, my name is so-and-so. Who invited you to tonight's event? Not, hi, my name is so-and-so, and this is what I do, and maybe you can hear something. Here's 4 of my business cards, and whatever. She said, who invited you tonight to this event? And the second woman says, well, my friend Sally invited me to tonight's event. The first woman said, Sally? You know Sally? I know Sally too. How do you know Sally? I look over at the guy, and his eyes are rolling behind his head. He's like, kill me now. Who cares about Sally? We're here to network. What he didn't get was they were networking. They were networking because they were building a relationship, a connection. They were building a connection that would lead to a relationship, a professional relationship. And so, yeah, women meander a little bit in their path. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have some fun with that, I think. Yeah, it's transactional versus relational. Transactional. Hi, my name is so-and-so, let's do business. Relational. Tell me about what you do. What do you like about what you do? Who invited you to tonight's event? That's more of a relational conversation. We found in the survey that when we took gender out of it, and we just said relational versus transactional, that men and women who were relational did better at networking than men and women who were transactional. Because there's some women that were transactional and some men that were relational. But men and women who were relational did better. And the thing is, women tended to be more likely to be on the relational side than men were. Okay, if you don't buy that, let's have a little fun right now with this next slide. Mission, go to the Gap and buy a pair of jeans. Now the Gap was a store that existed when this book came out. I don't know if they're still around, but it's a clothing store. Go to the clothing store and buy a pair of jeans. Men, time 16 minutes. Bought jeans. Okay, it was a long time ago. They cost $35. Women. Passes the Gap. I love it. Time, 2 hours and 16 minutes. Purchase jeans, shoes, handbags, perfume, makeup cost $876. Now, again, I did this, I gotta update the numbers, but I did this like 10 or 12 years ago. And I remember I showed this to my late wife, I showed this to Elizabeth, and I said, what do you think? When she went, and then she said, really, she bought all of that for only $876? Honey, that's not the point. But here's the funny thing. Every country I go to loves this slide. I have not gone to any country anywhere in the world where people can't kind of resonate with that. I did have, on one occasion I did have a woman who said, I'm not like that. And I said, okay, well, it's not about you. It's about the survey of 12,000 people we did. And based on the survey of 12,000 people, this is the kind of stuff we found out. This is sort of the average of what you see. So not all of us are this way. Not all men are totally transactional. Not all women are relational. But relational beats transactional when it comes to networking. And if you don't believe that, look at the data. Because this is the data that we got from the survey of 12,000 people. The average number of hours spent per week, and remember this was 12,000 people, some in BNI, many not. So this is not BNI people. A percentage are BNI people. Not everyone. The average number of hours spent per week was 6.3 hours, so 6 1/3 hours. 6 1/3 hours roughly. Men spent 6.44 hours a week. Women spent 6.19 hours per week. So men spent a little more time networking than women did in the survey. The average amount of business generated, as a percentage of their overall business, and again, not just BNI numbers are higher usually, but the average was 46.7%. Of their overall business generated through networking, okay? 46.7%. Men got 43.96%. Women got 49.44% of their business through networking. Yeah, the women love that. As it should. So let's review. Men, on average, spend more time networking and generated less business networking. And the one big difference was relational versus transactional. So guys, you gotta learn how to be more relational, okay? Appropriately relational. That's always important to mention. appropriately relational in the way you do business. We also found that there was a direct and dramatic linear correlation between the amount of time people spent networking and the percentage of business that they generated networking. So we found that people who spent more time networking generated substantially more business, on average as much as almost 70% of their business through networking. And again, this is not BNI members. I know many BNI members that say they get 95% of their business through BNI. That's fantastic. I know one or two that have told me 100% of their business through BNI. That's fantastic. But I did this as an open to the public survey because it was a published book and I wanted it to not just be niche to BNI. All right, so relational versus transactional. That's one of the skill sets. Here's the next one. Don't be a cave dweller. Cave dwellers are people who get up in the morning and they're in this large cave with a big screen television. They go out to their garage and they get into this little cave with 4 wheels called their automobile. They drive to this other really big cave with computers called their office. They stay there all day long, and at the end of the day, they get back into their little cave with 4 wheels. They drive back to their large cave with a big screen TV, and they can't figure out why no one is referring them. Networking is a contact sport. You have got to get belly to belly with people and connect with them and talk to them. And yet, now we're finding you can also get on Zoom, that's fine. But I still like, we have chapters. Why do you have hybrid chapters here? Oh, that's good. So we now have the latest data I received was that about 68% of our organization have gone back to meeting in person full time. 16% stayed online after COVID. 16% of our organization stayed online. And 16% has gone hybrid, where they're meeting once a month in person and they're then meeting the rest of the month on Zoom. Now, in 2019, if I said that 32% of the organization a few years from now is going to be meeting online part-time, people would have thought I was crazy. But COVID, first of all, it was inevitable that we do that. Inevitable that we do that. But because of the technology, but COVID had that happen quicker. But networking is a contact sport, whether you're talking about contacting and connecting on Zoom or whether in person, you got to connect. You can't expect people to refer you and not get business and get business from them. I've seen people that are like, well, I've built relationships with members of this chapter, and I'm going to quit now because I've got all the relationships, and they quit. And somebody from their profession comes in, and guess what? The members now go to the new person in that profession. People just aren't thinking ahead. This is like a gymnasium membership, right? You got to constantly be working on it. If you go to the gym, get fit, you go, okay, I'm fit, I quit. That doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't make sense in networking either. You got to stay consistent with it. Networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. It's about cultivating relationships with other business professionals, and staying connected is an important way to do that. I added this slide back in because we have so many people from some other organizations here. There are what I call in the book Networking Like a Pro, both first edition and second edition, 4 streams of your network. There are groups like casual contact networks, like a chamber of commerce, where people just get together in a very casual environment, a mixed environment, they mix, they mingle, they talk. There are knowledge networks, like associations that get together for a particular reason, to develop their skill set, to learn more. They're knowledge networks. There are online networks like LinkedIn and Twitter and X and other online types of networks. And then there are strong contact networks. Strong contact networks are networks that allow one person per profession. We get together every week. Our primary purpose is to pass each other referrals that are like you and I. Now, I added this back into my presentation because I learned yesterday that we've got over 30 different associations here represented today. And I want you to know that BNI loves working with other networks. Not direct, you don't join 5 casual content networks, and 2 or 3 knowledge networks, and 2 strong content networks, and a bunch. You know, you want to mostly be in one kind of, you don't want to join 2 Rotary clubs or Kiwanis clubs. You want to be in one. So I recommend you be in at least one of these types of organizations, beyond being one of them. And so I love, and since my first big book, The World's Best Networking Secret, I've been recommending that Beyond members join the local chamber and other associations, because it's a great way to expand your visibility and then over time your credibility. So I recommend these other associations. I think that they can be very effective in your efforts in building credibility, visibility, and then credibility. Okay, so you go into a networking event, like maybe a chamber or the opening of a BNI meeting, where there's open networking. So you walk into an open network. What do? Where do you start when you walk into a network and you see this big crowd of people? And I don't know if you're like me. I'm actually, and people think I'm an extrovert, but I'm actually a situational introvert. Where, you know, unless I'm in a situation where I know what I'm talking about, and I know the people, I'm a little hesitant to just walk up and meet people. And so this really resonated with me. You walk in, where is it that you start? And so I'm going to teach you where to start. But most importantly, I want your visitor hosts of your chapters. And if you're in other associations, pick up a copy of this book and use, because this is in the book, don't feel like a pro, use this to train your members on how to interact with visitors to your organization. When you walk in, you're going to see closed 2s and closed 3s. These are people that are standing face to face, and you know, like this is the God view. You're looking down, and they're talking to each other. Or a closed 3 looks like a triangle, where you know it's hard to break into that and start a conversation in a closed 2 or closed 3. What you want to look for, in fact, are open 2s and open 3s. You want to look for groups of people that are standing slightly askew, right? So like a V or a U, and there's an open spot, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of slip in there. So when you're the visitor host, you want to make sure to train your people, or the education coordinator of your BNI chapter, you want to educate your chapter. Always stand in open 2s and open 3s or open groups. Never stand in closed 2s or closed 3s or closed groups. Now, I did this speech a number of years ago in a country, and I'll be darned if I wasn't standing there with some other guy, and we were in a total closed 2. I had just done the speech 30 minutes earlier, and I'm standing there in a closed 2, and he looked at me and he said, we're in a closed 2. I said, oh, yeah, you're right, okay, let's open it up. So we open it up. Open 2. Boom! Third person comes in right away. We have each other's closed 3. We open it up. Fourth person comes in. We open it up. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Every time we opened it up, someone came in and connected with us. This is a very subtle but significant technique, a skill to develop, to think about, to remember, to train others to do. And the reason for it is that when visitors come or new members come, they feel welcome. They feel included. Because one of the downsides of the network is that networks are kind of closed sometimes. And you know, friends seeing each other on a regular basis, they're excited to see each other, they start talking to one another, and you're not open to other people coming in, particularly visitors or new members. So you always want to stand in open 2s or open 3s, and you want to train your chapters, organizations, you want to train your members to do this at mixers so that it's very easy to strike up conversations. So now that when you look at this, where you start, you start with this open 3 in the top right, where there's open 2 in the bottom. Of course, you can do single groups, single people, people are standing alone. But if you're an introvert, that's actually harder to walk up to somebody as an introvert and start a conversation. The secret as an introvert is find the largest group that's open. The largest, I know it's counterintuitive, but it works. Find a group of 5, 6, 7 people, and there's just an open spot. And then just slide in. And wait. Somebody will say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. What's your name? What do you do?" And you'll strike a conversation. It's actually easier for introverts to, and I should make a slide that's got a large group with an opening, because that's where it's very, very easy. Now the extroverts said no problem, walking up to somebody and say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so." Extroverts can talk to anybody. Well, here's the problem. Let's talk for a moment about introverts and extroverts. Extroverts, everyone just assumes that extroverts are great at networking, and they can be. Now, extroverts love to talk. And what's their favorite subject? Themselves. They love to talk. They have to train themselves not to talk about themselves. They have to train themselves to say, "Hey, tell me about what you do. What do you love about what you do? What's your favorite kind of client?" They need to ask questions, right? A good networker has 2 years of one mouth.
30 minutes, 1.5 hours.
Proportionately when you meet people.
Doon sa program,
Introverts have a hard time meeting people.
after pa niya, pwede daw
But I just showed you one technique that you can use. Another technique is to go to the event with somebody
Kasi ito daw yung
you
pinaka-highlights.
know and have them walk you around and introduce you. It's a technique that I use all the time. And so that's what introverts do. Now, introverts have a hard time meeting people, but they're great at this.
Sila na yung ready na.
They're great at asking questions and
Doon
listening.
sa backdrop,
So
doon sa may
both
lag.
extroverts and introverts have a strength and a weakness.
Langit.
What they have to do
Kasi
is
pag
work
pinantay pa
on
yung
those
mga after pa ng ano to,
weaknesses
mga hapon.
and keep their strengths and work
Doon nila
on
sa
those
background.
weaknesses so they can be great at networking. All right, so you go to the networking event, you meet a bunch of people, you get a bunch of business
Lahat
cards.
ng
What do you do then?
may SM.
I'm going to teach you a system called the 24/7 30 follows.
Kasi ito, dinidiscuss na lang yun.
You know, I-
Yung process ng networking na lang ito eh.
The 24/7 30 follow-up system. Okay? Within
Process na lang ito eh, kung paano ka mag-develop relationship sa mga
Within 24 hours.
sa story mo, pwede
After
mo
you
na
meet someone, and by the way, when you go into networking,
Yung laman na lang ng ano,
it's not don't be a card dealer. You know, you're just handing out cards. She's not going to get any business.
Grabe, 7 days
I,
lang.
my,
Ngayong
my co-author,
30 days.
like pro,
Pagka ganyan kasi talaga,
Ryan
talaga
Williams,
nagawa dyan.
he said, "I have this beautiful
Bakit
lab,
di ako pwede sa ganyan?
dog, her name's Brandy, everybody loves
Naka-monitor ka
her."
dyan,
He said, if you thinking that cards worked, what I would do is I would just put a little saddle on Brandy
Alam mo yung mga
with a sign on one side that says, "Please take a card."
yung mga
And on the other side, "Please put your card
mga
here."
gamot-gamot yan eh.
And I would just send Brandy in to the room. And people would be like, "Oh, my
Line, yan,
God."
apply.
And then, Brandy would come out, and I have all these cards. Is that a good idea?
Ano yan eh, kanya-kanya.
No, it's not a good idea, because you're not meeting anyone. You're not finding out about anyone. You're not developing a connection with people. So when you meet people, what you want to do is take a little notepad. Now, in many countries, I don't know if it's good or bad in the Philippines, many countries in Asia, it's inappropriate to write on a business card. Is it in the Philippines? Yes, no? It's okay, okay. So I know in Japan it's not okay, and a couple of other countries it's not okay to write on the back of a business card. In the US, this room business cards practically, so it's okay to write on the back of a business card. If it's not okay, take a little notepad, and as you meet people, just jot their name down, and then any part of the conversation you found interesting, within 24 hours, reach out to them and say, "Hey, it was really nice meeting you." An email's okay. Reach out to them and say, "It was really nice meeting you at the event last night. I enjoyed our conversation about X, and I hope I've had
Cesar
some
ba din ay? Ano
Listen
ba?
carefully.
Ano ba? Parang coordinator at saka
Don't
siya may hawak ng
sell to them.
programs and music.
Okay?
Tapos,
Don't
segment
sell to
ng
them.
lahat.
Just make a connection. Great meeting you. I love talking about it. Okay, within 7 days, get on their social media. Okay, connect with them on social media within 7 days. Now, I learned a lot
Kada umaga.
from
Ang
my
morning show din
children
is Yung kay
about
Love
social
and
media.
Tonipet. Love
She had got
and Tonipet and
24
everything. LTE.
hours, 7 days. 7 days, connect with them on social
Kada
media.
umaga, kila Pia ko.
Now, the question is,
Banyo.
what social media platform do you connect
Good
with?
morning, Kuya, sa ano?
Well, I've learned something from my kids about this topic. It wasn't actually about social media, it was about telephones that taught me about social media and connecting with people in some days. My eldest daughter, who's now 37, great kid, I love her. When she was 17, she actually said to me, Dad, you're not only not with it, you're not even near it. I'm like, okay, so if we come at 10 o'clock, I don't care. So, you know, if you may not know that expression, but in many countries, you're not with it is an expression. So, when she was a teenager, I would call her, right? I give her a call. She never answered the phone. I remember talking to her once, and I said, hey, honey, you know that phone that I got you? It's actually a telephone. You put it up to your ear, and you can have a conversation with me on this thing. And she's like, oh. She had to, whatever, Dad, whatever. Okay. But she would text. So one time I tried it. I called her, nothing. I texted, boom, she responded immediately. Oh, all right. So if I want to connect with my eldest daughter, I got to text her. I go, then came my second daughter, Dorian. And Dorian, if I called her, nothing. If I texted her, nothing. Now, she just turned 33, so, and this was back when she was 16, 17, so it's a long time ago. I said, if I texted her, nothing. So I went to my wife and I said, well, you know, Dorian's not responding to me. I call her, she doesn't respond. I text her, she doesn't respond. She said, no, again, this is a long time ago. My wife said, oh, you have to WhatsApp her. A long time ago. I said, what's WhatsApp? I don't know what that is. So my wife helped me download it, and I tested it. I called Dorian, nothing. I texted Dorian, nothing. I messaged her on WhatsApp. She's like, hey, Dad, what's up? Okay, I got this. Then came my son. My son didn't know this was an actual telephone device. He didn't like texting. He didn't like WhatsApp, but he was a gamer. He loved games. And so I discovered that there was a platform that had an instant messaging feature. It's called Steam. I joined Steam. I bought a game. Right? I was like late 40s, early 50s. I bought an online game so I could have the instant messaging feature. Instant message my son, and he'd go, yeah, Dad, what do you want? But he'd respond, right? Call him nothing, text him nothing, he wouldn't do WhatsApp, but if I instant messaged him on Steam, he'd respond. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because it doesn't matter what platform you like. If you want to have a relationship, you want to build a relationship with someone else, find out what platform they like and connect with them there. Even if they're like one of the few people you have a connection with on that relationship, to build that relationship, go to where they want, not to where you want to be. For me, I just wanted to call and talk to them. But for them, they wanted to text, WhatsApp, instant message, whatever it was that they wanted to do. And so you may want to focus on one social media platform, but if that's the case, you're not going to build the connections with people that are out there. So one of the conversations that you want to have with people when you're meeting them is, what's your preferred social media platform? Where do you hang out the most? Where do you interact with people the most? And then you want to connect with them there and comment on their posts. Hey, I love this topic. What a great idea. I never thought of this. Yeah, you mentioned a blog. I read your blog. I watched your video. What a great blog. So just interact. Make a connection. So you meet, you connect with them within 24 hours. Then within 7 days, you connect on the social media platform they are on. And don't sell to them. Don't sell to them. Look, they know what you do at this point. If they're interested, they'll tell you. Even a blind squirrel can find a nut. You can stumble over business at networking events, but that's not why you go to networking events. You're going to networking events to build relationships. So this is about building relationships. So what do you do after that? 24/7/30, within 30 days, you want to reach out to the person and set up a one-to-one meeting. Set up a one-to-one meeting. You want to connect with them in person if possible, over Zoom if necessary, but you want to have this one-to-one meeting. And if you're in BNI using the Games Exchange, if you don't know what the Games Exchange is, talk to your director. It stands for Goals, Accomplishments, Interests, Networks, and Skills. I talk about it in several of my books. It's a very effective technique. And do a one-to-one with them. Now, let me tell you, one-to-ones make a huge difference. How many of you would like to raise your hand if you would like to have twice as many referrals in BNI? Your hand's not up, you're lazy. Or not in BNI. Okay, I can tell you how to do it. The answer's simple. We have hard data. We did a study of a region in Italy, and we studied members that were doing one-to-ones, and we found that members who were doing one-to-one a month compared to members who were doing 4 one-to-ones a month. The members who were doing 4 one-to-ones a month gave almost exactly 100% more referrals. But that's not the beautiful thing. They received almost exactly 100% more referrals. So they both gave and received twice as many referrals by just doing one-to-one a week, 4 one-to-ones a month, versus the people who are doing only one-to-one a month. One-to-ones make a big difference in going deep. If your network is a mile wide and an inch deep, it'll never be very powerful. You want your networks to be both wide and deep in places. Places where you want to make that connection with somebody. You want to go deep and build that relationship with them. And that begins by doing one-to-ones. So, I talked about where people are on social media. I'm on all the platforms. God help me, I'm even on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I got talked into it. Go back and watch the very first TikTok I did, where I had to change my opinion on TikTok based on teaching a class at Concordia University, and the students convinced me that I needed to be on TikTok. So I am now on TikTok. But I've got 200, my biggest social media is Facebook. And that's my public page. I've got 271,000 followers, I think, on Facebook. So you can connect with me there. And I read most of the things, most of the comments that are posted. Not all, but most. And of course, for those of you who might not be BNI, check out BNI.com. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I think I'm good on time. Let me see how I'm doing with time. Oh yeah, I'm good on time. Okay? Take a photo of that. Facebook.com, ivanmeisner.BNI I have a boatload of followers from the Philippines. I do. A lot. So let's see if I can add a few hundred today. Okay? If at some point there'll be something posted, there might be already from my team about my visit to the Philippines. So get on there and say, I saw Ivan. He was a horrible speaker. No, he was a pretty good speaker. You know, one time, I'm way off topic now. One time I was standing in the back of the room, I was being introduced. And just like Dexter was introducing me. And some guy was running, and I was in the back door. It was a small event, it was like 100, 200 people. And I was in the back door, and this guy's running, he goes, oh, I thought I was going to miss the speaker. It was the director who was introducing me. He said, oh, I'm so glad I didn't miss the speaker. He's telling me this. I'm the speaker, right? He's telling me this. And I said, no, yeah, I said, he hasn't gone on yet. He said, I hear he's a great speaker. I said, yeah, I've heard him speak. He's not that good. He's like, really? I had to deal with traffic and the guy is not that good? And then, oh, Ivan Meisner. Hey, dude, I hope you enjoyed it. It was fun. He laughed. He was mad at first, but he ended up laughing. Okay, Facebook.com, ivanmeisner.BNI founder. Here's the thing about everything I've talked to you about today. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. You have got to practice these things. There's so many things that I've talked about today. I talked about the networking disconnect, mindset, skill set. I talked about the percentage of people that really love networking. I talked about the butterfly effect. I talked about diversity. I talked about the time confidence curve. I mean, I want you to think about all the stuff I've talked about today. Skill set, being transactional versus relational. Not being a cave dweller, the 4 different types of networks to participate in, open networks, closed networks. I talked about 24/7, 30. There's a lot of stuff I gave you. A lot. The thing is, you got to practice it. I have a friend, really good friend, and he was bragging to a business coach of his. He's like, I read 52 books last year. I read 52 books, a book every week. And she said, wow, that's fantastic. He said, yeah, I'm really proud of that. And she said, how many have you mastered? I said, I don't think I've mastered any. She said, yeah, don't read so much. Read and then master it. You gotta master the things you read. So I just gave you a lot of information. Take this information and master it. You're gonna hear more. Your next speaker is incredible. So I'm assuming Phil is your next speaker. He's a great speaker. You're gonna learn a lot of this stuff. Implement it. Don't just listen to it. Implement it. Take notes and implement the ideas that we're talking. You gotta practice, practice, practice. And don't worry about screwing up. Don't worry about messing up. You will. It's okay. It's inevitable. I've messed up. I've messed up bad. Really, really bad. I'm going to tell you a story and then I'm going to close up. When I first came out with my first big book, The World's Best Known Marketing Secret, I was asked if I wanted to do a live interview in Connecticut, the state of Connecticut. It's the biggest morning show in Connecticut. They had millions of viewers. And my publicist said, would you be willing to go do this show? And I said, yeah, absolutely. She said, it's live. I said, that's okay. She said, no, you gotta understand, it's live. Whatever you say will come out on the air. Now in the US, nothing's live, it's all tape delayed because of something that happened at a Super Bowl. And so things are tape delayed by a few seconds so they can, edit. This is before then. She said, this is live, absolutely live. I said, that's fine. She said, there's millions of people. I'm like, I was fine. You're making me nervous now. She said, no, don't be nervous, but I just want you to be aware. I said, okay, fine. I'm willing to know. She said, okay, they want something visual. I said, visual? What do I do that's visual? I talk about networking. I run up and down the aisles, pass out business cards. What do I do? She said, I don't know. You're the expert. You come up with something. So I came up with something really stupid. It was stupid. It was the tools to network. And so I had a toolbox. And in the toolbox, I had badges and badges, business cards, had card files. I had all the tools to network. And I knew it was lame, but it was all I could think of. It was visual. So I brought it there. I didn't like it. I wanted something more visual. And so I was with the B&I director who was driving me to this event. And I said, man, I want to do something that's a little more visual. And he said, well, what do you think? I said, maybe I'll do a magic trick. And he said, yeah, okay, what do you have in mind? I said, well, when we get to the end of the interview, what I want to do is I'll have the host or hostess, I'll ask them to hold up a copy of the book. And they hold up a copy of the book. I'll take it from them and I'll say, be careful. And they'll say, why? And I'll say, because that's hot. That book is hot. And, I wanted to prepare them. I didn't want to surprise them with that, so I wanted to prepare them. He said, yeah, do that. That's what you got to do. I'm like, okay, fine. Listen. So I'm sitting in the back in the green room. Biggest morning show I'd ever been on. a lot of guests. It was a 3-hour show, a lot of guests. We're sitting there. I'm a little nervous. And you guys know the song YMCA? Right? Village People? So we're sitting in the room and somebody walks by dressed like a Native American. And then somebody walks by dressed as a construction worker. And then somebody walks by dressed like a police officer. And someone in the green room said, that looks like the Village People. Who sang YMCA? That looks like the Village People. And the rest of us in the room are like, nah, you don't have the Village People in here. And we're still watching. And I'm really nervous now. So to get that flame, you use something called flash paper. And the more flash paper you put in, the bigger the flame. And so I'm a little nervous. I'm thinking, I'm going to put just a little bit more of that flash paper. And I'm watching in the green room as they're introducing the speaker that week, the next guest they were going to have that morning. And the announcer says, and ladies and gentlemen, next on the Fairfield County Exchange, the Village People. Put the Village People in there. I want them to see it. There we go. Oh, come on, put it up. Do I have to do it again? It's much better if it works like this. No. The Village People, come on. There we go. Thank you. The Village People. And Dr. Ivan Meisner was talking about networking. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm going on after the Village People? Seriously? I'm going to put a little bit more of that flash paper in there because this is going to be good. So I watch as, you can put me back up now. So I watch as the Village People come out. And they have the entire audience on their feet. They're all singing songs and they're excited. And it's the Village People. It's so cool. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm next. Look at this stupid toolbox. I'm going to put just a little bit more of that flash paper. And of course, what's the last song? YMCA. So they have the entire audience on their feet. The cameras, they pan out to the audience. The entire audience is on their feet. They're all on this show. YMCA. You're dancing and singing. And I'm like, oh, this is just a little bit more. So they're done. One of the producers runs into the green room and says, Meisner, who's Meisner? That's me. You're on next. The Village People ran late. You don't have much time. You're not going to have a chance to really talk much to the host. So you got to get in and say whatever you're going to say because it's going to be over. You got to get on in just a few minutes. I said, okay, that's fine. Hang on just 1 second. A little bit more. So I go on. I sit down. There's a man and a woman, and the woman's going to do most of the interview. The woman's going to do most of the interview. And so I say to her, hey, listen, when we get to the end of the interview, while I'm talking to her, there's some big guy putting his hand up my back and trying to put a microphone on, and I'm trying to have this conversation. And I say, hey, look, when we get to the end of the interview, would you mind holding up a copy of the book? And when you hold up a copy of the book, I'm going to say, and just as I get to that point, the director comes over and says, no, I don't want her holding up a copy of the book. You're going to have a JPEG of the book up on the screen. We don't need her holding up a copy of the book. Don't do it. And she walked away. And the host, the woman, she could see the blood draining from my face. And she's like, is it important? I said, yeah, it really is. It's good. She said, okay, I'm willing to do it. I'm the host. I'll do it. What are you going to do? I said, okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. When we get to the end of the interview, because I don't want you to be surprised, hold up a copy of the book. And when you hold up a copy of the book, I'm going to take it and I'm going to say, now by now my microphone is hot and the director is hearing us conspire. And the director comes over and says, hey, you two, I told you no, I don't want you holding up the book. You're on live in 4, 3, 2. I look at the host and she's like, no, it's okay. So we get to the end of the book. She, being the consummate professional that she is, she holds up a copy of my book. The director's like, she holds up a copy of my book. She says, I have here a copy of Dr. Meisner's book. And I say, oh, careful. She says, why is that? And I opened it up, and I did a little flame thing, and I maybe put a little too much flash paper in, because I went, and it went, "Foosh!" And she went, "Ah!" It's a good photo, right? "Ah!" And jumped, here we go. And jumped into the lap of her co-host. She is now lying in the lap of her co-host, screaming, "Ah!" We're still on live television. "Ah!" Clasped her heart and she said, "Oh, thank goodness I didn't swear on live television." We're still on live television. Her co-host,
Ito kasi hindi naman eh.
the gentleman,
Oo.
has said nothing throughout the entire
Kasi
interview.
tahimik lang yan sila.
She's lying in his lap.
So, kaya daw siya.
He looks off stage and he says, "Wardrobe, new trousers for her, please." And the director says, "Cut, go to commercial, cut, go to commercial." My B&I director was off on the side going, "That was visual. You should probably leave now." So in most states in the United States, I'm considered an expert on networking, but in Connecticut, I'm considered an arsonist. You know, different people, different places, different races, different religions, different countries, different cultures, we all speak the language of referrals. We all want to do business with people we know and trust. And the way to do that is to do the things I talked about today, to do the things you're going to hear today. Practice these things. Put them in. Hey, don't worry about making a mistake. Chances are pretty good you're not going to burn down a studio. By the way, I forgot, the flame was so big, I blinded the cameramen. They had the big old cameras. So all the cameramen were walking around like this, and no one's behind the camera because the director is so mad at me. You got to practice. So the thing is, you're not likely to do something on live television. Thank goodness YouTube did not exist then.
May
Not
kuha ka
in
ng
privacy.
pangkalahatan.
Ralph
Kuha ka kaya
Waldo
ng
Emerson
pangkalahatan.
once said,
Meron na. Kompleto na
"What
material.
lies before us and what lies behind us is nothing compared to what lies within us." What I love about BNI is that it takes the best that lies within us. It takes this philosophy of givers gain. This idea that if I help you, if I build a relationship with you, if I help you, you'll help me, and we'll all do better as a result of it. And I cannot think of a better way to do business into the next century. BNI Philippines, thank you so much.